EGM Network.
This is Martha Matters. From real estate, healthcare, current events, taxes, or just about any topic, we're talking about it. Call us with any questions on just about any subject. Now, here she is, Martha!
Well, hi there. I probably should have said it last time, but I'll say it this time. Happy birthday, everybody, for America. And I am in the middle of a lot of people who seem to be very happy. According to the news, I know there are some disgruntled ones around, but at least in Florida here was really surrounded by an awful lot of happiness, and I'm glad for it. And I literally had tears come to my eyes when I heard about this one lady, which to me in a nutshell is what the U.S. stands for and is meant to happen. She was a single lady, not that old. I don't know her age, but certainly under 40 or under 35. Came over to the United States alone. She did have a cousin over here, and they obviously communicated on how nice everything was, or is. And she came over with no known skill from China. She wasn't able to get a job over there, but she did grow up with a computer in her household. And instead of playing with little toys and dolls, like a lot of ours, was on the computer. Not so much playing games, but learning a lot and figuring out how to use the computer. And she said the hardest thing to learn was the printer and the way it's connected to the computer is very important. I'm sure that's the case, but we all have geeks taking care of that problem. Not all of us. Some of us are very, very handy with the computer, but a good many of us are not. And she was able to design like a retail store over the computer. She has her own recipe for pancakes. Now, crepes and very thin pancakes like that, France is credited with discovering that. But the pancakes that the U.S. has, where it actually rises and has a small amount of yeast in it, is really discovered by the United States. So she had a recipe along that line of her own recipe. Now remember, in China, when she was trying to make pancakes, they don't have ready-made mixes or anything else, and they don't even have large spoons and large blenders, let alone mixers for making large quantities. So she had a few utensils. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but to me they looked like wooden broom handles. I may be wrong. But she had something like that she used as stirring rods, nothing metal, for making her pancake mixes. So when she came to the United States, most of her education was learning English, not so much a skill. She made these pancakes locally and had a little booth in front of her cousin's house, and they were very successful, and people were looking to buy the mix. So she put it on her computer, and yesterday she was in the State Fair Mall down in Washington, D.C., having a little booth and selling one large pancake, and you have your choice of fruit toppings, blueberries, strawberry, pineapple, and so forth. And they were a big hit. And even President Trump came out to her and she said, she says, I've only been here a few months and I've made a couple of $10,000 in a couple of $10,000 bills in all of this. And she's tickled pink and going full steam ahead. Well, that's a person who came to America who is accountable, ambitious, has an American dream, started literally with nothing other than speaking English a little better than some of the immigrants, and basically knowing basic keys on a computer. I'm sure the Chinese programming is very different than ours, but not so difficult that it's hard to find out about. And so she's very comfortable setting up the computer, taking orders on the computer that brought her all this money after just opening a stand like kids open a lemonade stand, and it became successful. Well, to me, in a nutshell, without even talking money, that is what the U.S. is. That's what the American dream is. And there's no other country that can succeed like that the way we can. Why do you think computers and programs were discovered here in the United States? Both Mark Zuckerberg and even Bill Gates, they all had ideas and were playing with tools and electric gadgets in their own garage, starting from scratch, just like this lady did with the pancakes. In other countries, you're not encouraged to be fully accountable and welcome, and your creativity is thoroughly welcomed. And if it works, fine. If it doesn't, that's okay. You learn something from failure and you try something else. Failure is not bad if you know the mistake you made and you won't make it again. It's that simple. It's learning, just like learning how to do the correct thing. And that is what this country is all about. We don't need people coming over the border who hear America's great and they're looking for nothing but freebies. And even though people who are here, I know of a couple of families that have kids that just graduated from high school. They can't wake them up to get a job. If they got a job, they couldn't keep it more than a week or two. They lie at home, watch TV, mom and dad feed them, and they're very happy. Now they're getting on welfare and stamps, and they're not disabled in the least. They're just plain lazy. Well, we don't need people like that. And when you have open borders of people who hear of good medical care, free food, free housing, you're not getting the right kind of people. And sooner or later, the ambitious people, like the Bill Gates and the others that have, and even Elon Musk, if we have nothing but people who are looking for give-me's, they're going to be leaving the country and going to another spot to try a new democracy. Democracy is absolutely amazing. How come with tough rules way back in the early days, 2,000 years ago, the Egyptians were very ambitious. They learned about the sun. They were the first ones to learn about a clock and tell time by the angles of the sun. They built all those pyramids without a computer, without engineering math, but they learned how to do it. They were brilliant for their time, but as rulers, instead of being benevolent, became more and more nasty, wanted to control people, wanted them to keep their mouths shut, wanted them to do as told, and the rest of the time go into their little huts or homes, be quiet, don't talk to your neighbors, don't start a revolution, stay to yourself and don't say a word. And guess what? Nothing got discovered, nothing got improved, nothing became a solid country. It was all a king and his associates who ruled and controlled everything. And the king's associates were basically the police force. We don't seem to learn from all those histories. We don't even learn from the fall of the Roman Empire, when everybody can have free food, free medical care, free entertainment at the Colosseum. And then the Border Patrol said, why the hell are we working 12-hour days when we can sit home like these other people and get everything for free? Well, that was the fall of the Roman Empire. And if you want people like that who want to use nothing but other people's money, like Mandami, guess what? It's going to be the fall of New York City. And if he succeeds nationwide with all these communists and with all these socialist people, it will be the fall of the United States, too. We'll be a third world country. And this week, it was so invigorating when they saw so many people working hard and so many people who are comfortable and have choices that we take for granted. All these hamburger places, not just McDonald's, about 5 or 6 varieties of hamburgers from Wendy's, Hardee's, all these other 6 or 7 major companies, and waffle houses. When I visited even Russia, to the small towns, every town did not have a pharmacy, did not have an emergency room, did not have a supermarket. When you wanted a supermarket with a choice of meats in Russia, you had to drive about 50 miles to the nearest in-between. I call it an in-between city. It's not like Russia, St. Petersburg and Moscow, but it's larger than those villages. There you would have a supermarket that's still maybe not too big, maybe twice the size of one of our 7-Elevens. And one of the aisles is nothing but vodka. About 20 types of vodka that were locally made in the 50-mile square area. And if you went to the meat department, it absolutely stank. They had cut up chicken that was in poor refrigeration, and you can smell it turning bad, along with beef and fish. It was horrible. And even from Europe, where you have good civilization, when those soccer people came over here, they never saw such a huge supermarket in just about every town. Certainly pharmacies in every town, And if the town is super small, they had at least 1 or 2 doctors. There's nothing like that in the rest of the world. And the air conditioning, even the poorest people we have air conditioning if they're living in assisted housing of any kind. Every single boutique and store has air conditioning and heat in the winter. They don't need to build fires to keep warm. We take so much for granted, which is why outside this country, most people want to come here for a good reason. If we have an open border, the people who just want to destroy us, they're jealous. They're jealous of success when they haven't even tried to be successful themselves. Look at poor Caitlin Clark, the outstanding women's basketball player. I'd say whenever they put her down or tackle her or hit her offhand, it doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are. When you see a single successful person that brings money in the form of tickets and people who want to watch her, when you want to bring them to the game, when you wanted to bring a successful golfer like Tiger Woods was in his earlier years, you have jealousy and white, black, Spanish, you name it, and they all can face jealousy of any race. It's a shame. We ought to reward success and know that if you have a change of attitude and you, in the United States, you can start from scratch with failure and success, and you can do exactly what this Chinese lady did. Start from nothing, just like others have done, and you really become a success. I wish more countries encourage that. It would be wonderful. But the U.S., yes, there's plenty to be proud of. We've lasted longer than the Roman Empire, and we want to last another 250 years. And I hope every one of us, it doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent, if you're a citizen of the United States, you have an awful lot to be proud of. Put that smile on your face and keep it there. Well, we have to take a break now, but I have a few more little stories to tell you, so stick with me.
Welcome to Riverside Theater's Comedy Zone, where the comedy is wild, untamed, and downright hilarious. Hit the zone this Friday and Saturday night at 6:30 and 8:30 for the Treasure Coast's best live stand-up comedy show, featuring nationally recognized comedians with cabaret-style seating and food and drink table service. Buy tickets at riversidetheater.com and get ready for a night of non-stop laughs.
Hi, I'm Ryan, owner of Treasure Coast Tree and Land Services. When it comes to your property, there's a difference between some guy with a chainsaw and a certified arborist. Don't take chances with your property. Make sure your tree company is certified, licensed, and insured. Call the professionals, Treasure Coast Tree and Land Services. If you're in the IRC, call Treasure Coast Trees.
USA all day. Vero's 4th of July is going to be free, fun, and fire. The fun starts at Riverside Park at 6 with live music by Riptide, plus food trucks, pie eating, hot dog, and hula hoop contests. And enjoy a dazzling display of pyrotechnic pageantry with 4th of July fireworks at 9 o'clock. It's sponsored by the City of Vero Beach, Millennium Cremation Service, Formula One Window Tint of Vero Beach, Kiwi Car Wash, and Lori Davis of Dale Sorensen Real Estate. USA all day. July 4th, Riverside Park, Vero Beach.
Big news, Treasure Coast. Your favorite mortgage team just got even better. Introducing the same trusted faces you know and love, now with Union Home Mortgage.
Hi, this is Shannon Pohl.
Hi, this is Lucy Cranker.
And these high-producing team members bring decades of experience, unwavering honesty, and hearts of gold to every home loan. And here's the best part. Same local processing, underwriting, and appraisers you rely on. Contact Union Home Mortgage.
Visit us online at shannonCpohl.com
and LucyCranker.com.
Well, here we are back again. That's great, great, great. Hey, I think we are continuing to enjoy the 250th birthday of our country. It's not a one-day event like most of our birthdays and things in the past. And some of our birthday cards have hit a fine tooth as far as I'm concerned. Our daughter turned 50, and on reading the inside of a birthday card for 50, saying, "Lady, you're just getting started. The next 10 years are going to be the best ever." In other words, in her 60s. That's very possible. And I hope it's that way for many, many people, that the next 10 years, no matter how old or young you are, will be better than ever. And we've learned a lot if things don't fall the way we want them or turn out the way we want them. But keep on going and keep on looking, and sooner or later, you'll have a blast. And please, folks, I really, really want you, don't be afraid to be creative, to try something new. If it doesn't work, fine, try something else, no matter what it is. Wood mechanics, cooking, clothing, anything. There are always new ideas and things that can be improved, even decorations, even electric bulbs. I never thought we would be able to get a one-size electric bulb and have soft light, yellow light, white light, all different shades of colors with the same variety of size and shape. It's unbelievable. And to this day, even other countries don't have all that, let alone the variety of pharmacies that we have access to in every single town, all kinds of good foods. It's unbelievable. And quite truthfully, I've gone quite a few years thinking nothing of it. And when the soccer people came a week or two ago and were raving about the country, it actually woke me up of how much we have to be thankful for. And I think the whole world is like us, and it isn't. Even Europe isn't. But Europe did one thing correct. They do save all their statues, monuments, and historical events in their museums. We need to do the same. And let's have a joyous joyous happy birthday for America and help one another, which everybody is impressed with. Help somebody you don't even know. Put your head out a window and ask them for directions of how to get to a certain spot. Almost everybody will help you. And that is America. Let's keep it. Have a good one.